right, folks, welcome back to BEG Wrestling, baby. We have an incredible show here tonight. In fact, Trey Muniz and Steven Little are wrestling right now, live as we speak, to face off against AJ Ferrari in the finals of the, the Pac-12. But, folks, we are here live. We're here live. Join the comments. You can even call in here after our intro segment. If you'd like to join the conversation, please do so. But listen, we're going to be talking about everything. We got Dom Zaccone, first time live on the show, baby. We did his intro. We're going to be talking to him here. Let him do his intro here very shortly. We're going to be talking about Taye Ghadialli in the transfer portal. Dom was teammates with him. Also, folks, we're going to be talking about, I don't know, dude. I just got rumors. I'm waiting for a double source. I'm waiting for a second source of Ono going to Penn State. We're going to talk about that. AJ Ferrari just won here momentarily ago. He's in the finals. Also has a new song out we're going to break down. He's got a new song out, Dom. I sent it to you. And then finally, folks, the main topic of the show, the conference previews, we're going to be breaking down the Big Ten and the Big 12. And I got notes on notes on notes, Dom, to the point that I can tell you exactly who's going to be in the finals. I'm not even joking. I've done so much research. It's unbelievable. But in addition to that, folks, listen, check out the BEG Sports Store. It's in the description. BEGWrestling.com is where our rankings will be for tonight's show. In addition, check out USA Takedown Radio. Obviously, I was on them. You can find them at iHeartRadio. And Wrestle Madness, we're going to be using the brackets from Wrestle Madness tonight, Dom. So thank you to them, and join them to join in the competition against everyone else, all the other wrestling fans in the nation, folks. They compete. You make your picks for the Big Ten Conference Championships, the Big 12, and everything here, so forth and so on. And finally, Claw coming up this year, and we got news to come. I think they just dropped their sponsor of the U.S. Open. I think they're the main sponsor. Claw Wrestling, folks. I've been telling you for how long, and you haven't believed me. I'm telling you, dude. Claw Wrestling, main sponsor of U.S. Open. So, folks, like and subscribe, join the conversation. But first and foremost, we got to get to Dom Zaccone, folks, the newest BEG Wrestling host. And Dom, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your retirement from wrestling. Officially, you announced it yesterday, man. Why don't you give us a couple words on your retirement, man?
Can I just say, we're not even at the weekend yet. It's Thursday, and the energy is just unbelievable in here.
Yes,
Absolutely
it is.
Absolutely unbelievable. I love how you started off. But yeah, so rolling back, obviously had a great start to this final season. This is my 6th year in college. Had a great start. You know what I mean? Beating some top opponents, going, NC State, Nebraska. We went out to Minnesota. Unfortunately, around the time we got to the scuffle, I suffered an injury in my back, and that tournament didn't end the way I wanted it to. Kind of tried to push through it there, and then we tried to rehab it a little bit, and I ended up re-hurting it even worse a little later on. And then it's been a constant battle, up and down. PT 3 times a week. Different way of practicing, even got a little bit of a mental coach to kind of help me stay locked in, because I wasn't training the same. I'm so used to training, go, hard practice, hard drill, hard live all the time, and to take it a step back and have to only do, certain cardio for, 3-4 weeks. It was a change up, and, lead into everything, getting to the end of the season here, my body just it could not keep up with it, and to come so short, it really does hit you right in the heart. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean. It's out of my control, and sometimes you got to look out for your health more than trying to get on that podium. I guess you could say it like that, because that's the goal at the end of the year every year.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's bittersweet, but Father Time always gets the best of us, man. And at some point, we all have that moment as an athlete. If you were an athlete, that you realize, man, that it's time to move forward. And, you had that moment, and you had a great career. You had a successful career, and, you got a lot of things exciting here in the future, right? Well,
exactly.
Talk
a lot learned, a lot to give back. You know
Go
what
ahead.
I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. But So
BEG Technique Tuesday, you know it.
Technique Tuesday coming, folks. But listen, one of the hot topics this week, Dom, is Taye Ghadialli. And, let me put it up on the screen here because we are projecting Taye to be the number one ranked heavyweight next year in Division One. And he just this past week entered the transfer portal, and you were teammates with Taye. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Taye and, I don't know, what you know about him, maybe what his priorities might be and everything.
Correct. So I was teammates with Taye for 5 years now. I even saw him when he was cutting down to 97. You know what I mean? That's a that's a Taye no one wants to see. But no, it was funny because Taye was never actually a heavyweight. He, like I said, recruited at 197. It was a tough cut for him. But we did not have a heavyweight my second year in college, my sophomore year. I believe, yeah, my sophomore year in college, we did not have a heavyweight, and Taye actually was wrestling at 197 that year and made the commitment to bump up to heavyweight, and that's kind of started, who he is now and that whole little trend about it. Him entering the portal, look, you could only do so much, especially with how the wrestling and NCAA is going now. Nowadays, there's so much money flowing in and out for college athletes. And, I used to always be a guy that says, you stick to your roots, you stick where you're at, you get through it. But being so young and so many opportunities at such a young age, you don't know how long it's going to last. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to be able to, find a new home that's going to provide him for a good well-being, you know what I mean? I think it's great. I think it's great. He's worked very, very hard to get where he's at. I love the kid, and I wish nothing but the best, and I'm going to watch him wrestle next year, you know what I mean? We'll probably be talking about him again.
Oh, I'm sure we will. And listen, I had the opportunity. I met Taye back at the initial Claw Invitational last year, and, I've gotten a chance to get to know him a little bit. And, if you get, I'll be the first to say I wouldn't agree with every person going into the transfer portal, but in Taye's situation, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. And, I think that's pretty evident by Coach Sintas showing his support on social media with his comments and everything. So I'm excited for Taye, man. I'm excited for his future, to hear where he goes. And, everything I know about Taye, man, he's a great guy, and he's going to be an absolute asset, to wherever he goes, and we're projecting him number one.
He was an asset here at Campbell. You could always count on Taye. You know what I mean? He's a showman. And, it was like a guaranteed lock at that heavyweight spot, and bonus points, too. The dude, I think, finished right behind Hendricks for, like, most bonus point finishes. I know he had the most wins in the NCAA, I think, last year. I want to say he had the most wins because of how many matches he wrestled and stuff like that. He was up there, at least. I know that for sure.
Leader on the mat and off the mat, folks. But transitioning from that to another topic, someone who is permanently now off the mat for the season will be Ryan Crookham. And, Dom, I want to get your thoughts on this because, to me, this is devastating for Ryan Crookham. Everyone acts like this is not that big of a deal. He's going to be back next year. He's the number one ranked wrestler this year at 133. You assume he's going to be next year. However, I would say to everyone watching, listen, I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think this is literally devastating for his career and could possibly question whether he ever wins a national championship. Your thoughts, Dom?
Look, any injury that you're coming back from, especially if it takes you out for a season, not only is it a big battle physically to get back, but mentally. Ryan ranked number one in the country this whole year. Kind of had that target on his shoulder, and was, I think, getting ready to prepared for this upcoming NCAA tournament, especially coming up short last year and taking third, I believe, and it's gonna be how his mindset goes into it. It's devastating. You're right, because he was having such a great year and stuff like that. How his mindset goes into the recovery process and training, and how much his training will switch up, or what he needs to change, how he'll be able to cope and stuff like that. It'll be really, really big. You know what I mean? Does he come back a more hesitant wrestler because I believe it was an elbow injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. It was.
You know what I mean? Maybe does he not shoot single legs on that side anymore? What's he's very good on top. So what does that do for his riding? Is he not able to ride the same? Is he not able to use that arm the same? So I think it's just kind of his mental and physical recovery to see. The body will recover, but how sharp he stays in the mind and stuff like that and confident will be, big. It'll be a big play to kind of see because he's one of the best.
Now, Dom, that's an angle I did not even think about, the mental part. I was only thinking about physical. But honestly, folks, I got to give you an update. Stephen Little just knocked off Trey Munoz 7-4. So it will be Stephen Little and AJ Ferrari in the finals here just in a few hours. It's like 6 o'clock Pacific time. It's like 9 o'clock, I think, Eastern time.
Yeah.
So do the translations, do the math. But, yeah, so that's unfortunate for Crookham. Another story, Dom, that I had a chance to see this week that I got to mention because we've talked about it a lot in the past. It's the Penn State. It's the Penn State secret. It's what's the secret sauce. And Beau Bartlett had a little short documentary that Big Ten Wrestling did shout out. It was very intriguing, very interesting. And it took about, 7 or 8 minute mark where Beau Bartlett basically talks about like what he was not doing great. He was not reaching his potential, but he didn't realize it until a certain someone came up and just flat out told him that. And that certain someone was Bonnie. Don, man, we've talked about Bonnie a lot, and it's their team psychologist, okay? At Campbell, do you guys have a team psychologist? You got any experience? And what benefits can that offer?
So before we get into it, honestly, their secret sauce, you know what they do? They have fun. They have fun with what they do. You find a lot of wrestlers that yeah, they're good, but are they having fun with it? Are they too caught up mentally? You know what I mean? Are they too stuck on results? And those people or kids or whatever, they're not having fun like Penn State's having. The secret sauce is the fun they put into their craft. It's unreal. But kind of getting back to that, I think depending on the certain person, it is great to have someone like that. Our coaches do a great job with mental meetups, we call them, and mental checkups. This year especially, every single coach got assigned a wrestler. Doesn't matter if you're a freshman. Doesn't matter if you're a 6th year. Okay, and you come in mental meetups, mental checkups, and they obviously also do individuals and stuff like that. But I actually had the privilege this year with my battling my injury to, like I was saying earlier, stay mentally sharp. To talk to Teague Moore, and you know what I mean. I was kind of on the edge about it. You know what I mean? Being me or someone like me, I didn't really think it was going to help or you know what I mean? I was like, I don't need this. You know what I mean? I'm mentally
sure a lot
there.
of people think
well, let me tell you, he made such a big impact on my life. I honestly, truly believed that I was going to go out there and beat everyone and become an NCAA champ, All-American. And, my body obviously wasn't able to recover to let me do that. But mentally, I honestly wish I could have said, I wish I talked to him, 5-6 years ago. Because the way when someone talks to you, for them to put it in perspective, to be like, you have to do this yourself. They're telling you, you can, but when you hear someone tell you that you are that guy, you are that girl, you're going to go out there and perform, you start telling yourself that. You start looking yourself in the mirror. You know what I mean? You
Especially
start
when
doing
someone
other
is a
things people don't
professional.
do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think there needs to be more of it, honestly.
Well,
It really does.
Interesting. I mean, it's interesting you guys are taking advantage of it there at Campbell, and clearly it's advantageous. And Penn State might have the best psychologist in the nation, and we give Kale all this credit. And really, when no one ever talks about Bonnie, I think we should talk about Bonnie.
Yeah, it's a mixture of all of it. It's a mixture of all of it there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great coaching, great mental work, probably, nutrition, other assets and recovery and body stuff, and then them just having so much fun with what they do. It's like having a job that you love to do, basically.
Yeah.
Day in and day out.
Well, and it's interesting. It took Bonnie checking Beau, man. That was fascinating to me. She just basically came up to him at one point and said, flat out, like, Beau, you're not reaching your potential, and just left it at that and walked away. And it was like, I don't know. It's fascinating. Everyone definitely needs. I'll tell you what. I have had a barometer in my life my entire life, and it's been the most beneficial thing for me. So whether it be living with my brother, the wrestler of the family, or my girlfriend, or whatever, but. Yeah, very interesting. But listen,
growing up with these guys too, you see how good they are. Like, I've been around these guys my whole life, growing up, going to national tournaments and stuff like that. So when you're winning everything constantly, and then you get to that highest level of wrestling, and it doesn't matter who you are, it gets tough no matter what. You're like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Because you know the potential of yourself and these other wrestlers that you've seen win everything before. So that just shows that little bit of extra mental work, what it takes to just become, you know what I mean, from a top guy to the number one guy.
It's that 1% difference, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But
correct.
Hey, one final topic, folks, before we get into the conference breakdowns. I got to bring up, and he's the hot topic. He just won. He's in the finals of your Pac-12 championships, folks. AJ Ferrari, but I didn't even realize he dropped a hot new single, a song. Dom, I listened to it.
Who are these guys? Who are these guys, man?
The link,
I liked it.
Folks, the link to listen to the song is in our description right now. You can go listen to it, but Dom, I want to get your thoughts. I'll give you mine. Listen, I'll say this. It wasn't the worst song I've ever heard, okay? And I think if he wins a national championship, it's plus 2 points on how good it is. So let me say that. And if he wins a national championship, I'm giving it a 5. Without, I'm saying it's a 3 and even possibly a 2, because then it's kind of like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So he really has to win a championship. But I'm also thinking, Dom, BEG, I'm thinking has to come back. I don't know. Was this a subliminal shot at BEG? I don't know, because I've been calling out AJ for years and I never got a message back, and I'm thinking subliminal. I don't know. Dom, what's your thoughts? What's your grade on the song?
I don't know. Can you sing? I'm not the best singer. I'll let you know that.
No, but I'm very good at editing audio. So
just get some auto-tune and put it in there. Just make me sound like a robot. No, I thought it was a catchy song. I like the part where it says 665. The deadlift in there, they incorporated that really well. But these guys are pretty catchy. And AJ's never been one to shy away from who he is ever. And I love what he does. And he just, no matter if it's day in the life, if he's making rap songs out there, or giving up the what are they at the birds? What are they?
The double birds. The double birds splits.
At Cal State.
And you know what? I had someone tell me we need to do a short segment on the best celebration in wrestling. So, and right now, I think that's probably leader in the clubhouse right now. I don't know. I can't even think of something off the top of my head, but
I'll give you an example of one. I really liked back in the day the Valencia, the little rock star and smash the guitar. I don't know if you remember that one from the finals back in the day. We'll go through.
Yeah.
We can put together.
Maybe we'll take all the NCAA finals winners this year and their immediate reaction, like, and then we'll grade all 10. That sounds fun.
I like that. I really do like that. We might even have to incorporate the semis in there, because the semis are just as big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just as big.
I know. No, you're right. That is just as fun. But, folks, we got, right on cue, baby. Right on cue. We got Cornell Kevin calling in, because we're going to now transition, folks, to the official Big 10 and Big 12 conference breakdowns, folks. And like I said, I did a lot of research, and hold on, let me bring him in here momentarily. And I know Kevin did a lot of research, and Dom just knows a lot about wrestling. There he is. Welcome to the show, Cornell Kevin.
What's up?
How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
What's going
Good to
on?
see you.
Dom, how are you?
I feel out of place without the headset. I promise next time I'll have my headphones.
You sound great, man. You sound great.
Hey, we move on and evolve, folks. But listen, I don't know, Kevin. Before we get started, did you have a chance to listen to AJ's song? And we're gonna start with the Big 10.
Let's hear it.
No, you didn't have a chance to listen to it. I saw.
No.
I know. Oh, real quick. Oh, my goodness. I forgot one final thing, folks. Before we get into conference breakdowns, rumors are pending, so I'm waiting on a double source. I'm trying to be like the double source, like a real journalist here, folks, but I got one source came in that says, oh no, is going to Penn State, the number one pound-for-pound wrestler in the world. And, dude, we talked about it for weeks. We said, we're reading the writing on the wall. He's hanging out with Bo Nickel, hanging out in the Penn State room. I don't think it's hard to read. And now we got a report in. We're waiting for it to be double sourced. What I will briefly mention that we do have it single sourced, but we're not going to make it official, but sources say finalizing deal. Okay, that's what I put on the graphic there. But all right, let's get into it, which wouldn't be crazy. It wouldn't be crazy, apparently. Recruiting is going to be expanding.
Look, bring them all over. It expands the sport. You know what I mean? If you got guys from other countries coming over here, that country is going to want to tune in and watch college wrestling, possibly even start up new programs and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean?
We're going to see the continued evolution of the sport. But listen, folks, I'm going to do a quick intro, starting with the Big Ten 125. Then we're going to go to Kevin. Then we're going to go to Dom to get everyone's thoughts here. But listen, up on the screen, folks, it's the Big Ten 125 brackets. The seeds are number 1, Matt Ramos, 23-0. We have him ranked number 1 in BEG rankings. Number 2, Caleb Smith, 17-4. We have him number 8 in BEG rankings. Number 3, Dean Peterson, 18-4. We have him number 13 in the BEG rankings. And number 4, all you Penn State fans, Luke Lillendahl, who's 16-2 on the year. Number 6 in our BEG rankings, a little bit of influx there. And number 5, Joey Cruz, number 15 in our rankings. Folks, I broke down these potential semifinal matchups here. I do expect it to be Lillendahl Ramos, who have never wrestled, notably. So we have no prior information there. And then in your other semifinal would be Caleb Smith, Dean Peterson, also notably have never wrestled before. So very interesting. Kevin, before I throw it to you here, that these potential semifinals are matchups that have never happened. I do foresee it being those 4. Joey Cruz with an outside shot. But Kevin, your thoughts here, Big Ten 125. What do you think, man?
I'll tell you what. I think there's about 4 guys that could win it. I think Ramos is the favorite. However, there's a lot of guys in the bracket he hasn't wrestled this year, surprisingly. Even though he went to CKLV, he didn't wrestle Lillendahl. He didn't wrestle. I don't think he wrestled Peterson. I think he did wrestle Caleb Smith. Yeah, he did wrestle Caleb Smith at CKLV, I believe. But I'm going to go with Ramos, and it all comes back to that talk he had with Spencer this summer, where Spencer, I think, motivated him to get rolling, and he did, man. He's having a great season. So I think this is Ramos's to lose.
And when Spencer Lee told him, dude, you cannot beat me and then go on and not win a national championship. Dom, what are your thoughts here?
Look, Ramos is, on a mission this year, and he's never been in those Big Ten finals, I don't believe. So I know Ramos likes to check off stuff on his list, and I got him being in there, but I wouldn't be surprised down on the bottom side if McCrone kind of, you know what I mean? He's a sneaky guy. So I would, especially how good he is on top and stuff like that. But I got Ramos on top there.
Yeah, that is interesting. McCrone down there, and, the seeding not necessarily reflective of the BEG rankings. So, you got Lillendahl and Ramos there on the same side. It's interesting, but we'll get into some of the other seeding here, but we'll move on here, folks, because we've got a lot to cover. To 133 here, we got number 1, Drake Ayala. He's number 1 in the BEG rankings. Number 2, Lucas Bird, number 2 in the BEG rankings. Number 7 in the BEG rankings. Number 4, Braden Davis, Penn State fans. We got him number 9 overall in the 133-pound BEG rankings. And finally, Dylan Shawver. We have him number 11 in the BEG rankings. I foresee Braden Davis, Ayala here in the semifinals. Obviously, Ayala beat him 4-2 here. Actually, in February of 2024, but they have not faced off since then. And your other semifinal, Lucas Bird, Braxton Brown. Interesting. Bird is 1-0 against him. He actually beat him in January earlier this year, but another intriguing matchup. My pick is going to be Ayala. I think Ayala is the man at this weight. Kevin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Ayala's got that throw by, that shuck, and it's so good, and everybody knows it's coming. You know it's
Yep.
coming, and he still gets it, and that's when you know you've really mastered a move. Um, I think there's some interesting matchups. I love the possibility of a Braxton Brown Van D matchup. That's going to be just two
Yep.
guys rolling around doing crazy stuff. Um, Lucas Bird is kind of like your meat and taters kind of guy. He just very basic, but very good at what he does. Very hard to score on. I felt that he really controlled that match with Braden Davis. I think it's not to sound boring, but I think it is going to be an Ayala Bird final. But I do like Ayala. I think he's got a really good gas tank in the third. And I think he's got too much offense for Bird.
Okay, Dom, your thoughts around this way?
Hear me
You got
out.
a little experience.
It's March, you know what I mean? And Ayala and Bird have shown they are at the top there. I'm not going to be surprised if Bird takes home this bracket. But remember, it's March. Schwaber, defending Big Ten champion. Knowing the year, it's 0-0 here, going into conference and NCAAs. I could see him getting that kind of boost back and sneaking out some wins on that top side there. But I feel like Bird might get the revenge here if he does get Ayala in the finals.
Ooh, interesting comment here. Matt Hoffman, Bouzakis could go on a run here. We didn't even we
I was thinking the
forgot
same
about
thing there.
Bouzakis. Dangerous
Yeah,
Bouzakis.
this is one of those weights where it's like I don't think there's a weight like this that has so many landmines where there's a lot of guys like Bouzakis who could beat anybody. Do I see him going, winning 4 matches in a row? I don't think so, but he could. But there's a lot of landmines in this bracket, and it's why it's probably not going to go chalk. And same thing with NCAAs, but it's exciting.
Well, you also saw Van D take out Ragusin earlier in the season, who's the Big Ten runner-up last year. You know what I mean? Anything could happen with these guys, especially in this way.
From Michigan. But all right, folks, that's intriguing.
Braden Davis.
That's
too.
a fun. That's
We're
a
forgetting
fun.
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Braden Davis, who was the number 1 seed last year at 125, it's crazy. I mean, and
Big
he
Ten
could
champ.
win this, and it wouldn't even be crazy. Yeah, but
He's a winner.
folks, we'll move on to 141 here. Beau Bartlett gets the number 1 seed, and he's number 1 seed in BEG rankings. Mendez, number 2. He's number 3 in the BEG rankings. Brock Hardy is the 3 seed. He's number 6 in the BEG rankings. Vance Von Bar, number 4 seed and number 8 in the BEG rankings. And Sergio Lemley is the 5 seed, number 13 in the BEG rankings. I do foresee your Bartlett, Von Bar, who Bartlett is 1-0 in the past. He beat him in January, February, March of 2024 last year. So I foresee that as 1 semifinal. Bartlett moving on to the final. Mendez Hardy, who's won? Mendez 2-0 in the past against Hardy, 6-2 and 11-3 in 2023 and 2024. Obviously, Bartlett Mendez is what we're all thinking here, but who wins in the finals, Kevin? Or am I wrong?
I feel like Bartlett's wrestling better right now. I'm not just saying that because he just recently beat him, but I feel like, it's so hard to be as good. Like Jesse Mendez has been at a high level for so long, like year round. I mean, since last NCAAs, I feel like he kind of was wrestling not as well as he usually does for the past month or so. Whether that continues, I don't know. But I guarantee you one thing: the score will be 4-1, as we all know, between Bartlett and Mendez. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bartlett, man. I want to see Bartlett do it. He's a good kid. But watch out for Hardy and Von Bar. They've both proven that they can do it. I think I think Mendez is a really bad matchup for Hardy. So if they're on the same side of the bracket, I don't see that going well. But yeah, should be a good one. But I do like Bartlett.
Okay, Dom, any surprises here at this weight?
I see Mendez opening up. Honestly, I think Mendez is capable of so much, especially seeing him wrestle at such a high level. Beau Bartlett's defense is very, very, very good, but if Jesse knows how good he is, I could see him opening up and kind of racking up some takedowns, which we saw him do earlier this season. No slouch there, Brock Hardy. I love seeing Brock Hardy wrestle. I think it's a bad matchup for him as well in that semis there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sergio Lemley kind of pulls some upsets and makes a way to his semifinals there. He's done it before when he beat Real Woods last year, so you know what I mean?
No,
it's kind of who's going to show up that day, but Bartlett and Mendez, you know what I mean?
That's who we expect to see, but don't forget about Lemley. That is an interesting point, Dom, about Mendez opening up, because the fact is he did lose that last match, and that naturally that would make you open up more. So that's something I didn't think about. Maybe it is a Mendez that we see there.
It's the Big Ten finals too, though. You know what I mean? So there's so much. There's not so much on the line, but there's a lot on the line as well. So you never know what happens.
Yeah. I hope he does, because we've talked about it before. Bartlett and Mendez have unbelievable athletic ability and the ability to open up. But when they get to those high-level guys, especially each other, they seem to not open up. And I think Jesse, now that he has that loss, he's not undefeated anymore, because I think that does sink in some guys' back of their head. Maybe he does open up and go for it, man, and he should. They both should. And I hope they do. Yep. And I hope I'm wrong and the score is not 4-1.
Okay, I think we all agree. We're rooting to see Jesse Mendez, who opens it up this weekend, folks. But we'll move on to 149. It is Shane Van Ness coming in with the number 1 seed here, number 2 in the BEG rankings. Cal Parco, number 2 seed, number 3 in our rankings. Ridge Lovett, number 3 seed, number 4 in our rankings. That interesting top 3 back and forth dynamic there. Number 4 seed, Dylan D'Amelio. He's number 10 in the BEG rankings. And finally, number 5, Cannon Webster, who's number 15 in the BEG rankings. Folks, I foresee Van Ness and D'Amelio in one semifinal. Van Ness is 1-0. He just defeated him this past month, February of this year, 4-2. It was a little closer than I thought it would be. But I do think Van Ness will make adjustments and move on to the finals. And there I foresee Parco and Lovett in that other semifinal. As we all know, Parco is 3-0 against Lovett. 3-2, 3-1, 4-3. Can Lovett pull through this and make a finals, Kevin, or who do you expect to see here?
Well, I'll tell you what. Van Ness does not want to look past D'Amelio. I know you said he'll make adjustments. I think D'Amelio will make adjustments, and I think D'Amelio absolutely could have won that match. And if Van Ness is looking on to the final, that could be an upset. But I think it's so hard to beat someone at Ridge Lovett's level when you're Kyle Parco 4 times in a row, right?
That's
yes. I think Ridge Lovett is going to win this bracket. I really do. Ooh. I think it's his time, and I think that he's going to put it together and get it done. So I like Ridge winning the bracket, but you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if he was facing D'Amelio in the final and D'Amelio upset Van Ness somehow.
Dom, you mentioned earlier this week, this is the bracket, the Big Ten 149 that you were looking forward to the most, man. What are your thoughts here?
I'm agreeing with Kevin. That top side of the bracket is absolutely insane. You got D'Amelio, you got Cannon Webster, don't count him out, the youngster. Even Kai Miller up top there, and then Shane Van Ness. There is some good wrestlers up top there. I'm going as well with Ridge Lovett as well. Wow. He's been there before, done it. I really think he's going to win this bracket. I do think Shane Van Ness gets it done against D'Amelio, but I think it's going to be another very, very, very tight bout. I think that's going to be a tight bout. A lot of scrambles, a lot of possible not scoring points, but definitely situations from those guys.
Okay, folks, we're going to find out, is this Ridge Lovett's time? I thought it was last year. I think I picked him last year going into the NCAAs, but it didn't pan out. But all right, we'll move on.
I don't know what they were doing last year, picking top.
Yeah,
in
that was ridiculous.
That
was crazy. That was crazy. You're right. That was nuts.
It didn't pan out, but folks, Big Ten 157-pound bracket here. The number 1 seed, Ethan Miller, the Maryland kid. Shout out Maryland. He's number 4 in our BEG rankings and 20-0 on the year. He overtakes Tyler Kazak, who's the number 2 seed here, and number 2 in our BEG rankings. Number 3, Antrell Taylor, number 5 in our BEG rankings. And number 4 slides to number 4, Ja'Cory Teamer, who's actually number 3 in our rankings. And then finally, Tommy Askey's the 5 seed here, who's number 9 in our rankings. Folks, I do foresee Ethan Miller and Teamer here, who here's very interesting. I foresee that being the one semifinal. Those two have never wrestled. And if you remember, Teamer sat out in the dual meet earlier this year, Iowa versus Maryland, where he had the opportunity to wrestle. I think it was an unfortunate death in the family, but it's very interesting there. Intriguing matchup that we have not seen before. I don't know who I would take, but obviously in the other semifinal, I think it's Kazak and Taylor. Kazak is 1-0 against him in his career, beat him 9-3 in January of this year. Kevin, What are your thoughts here in these matchups?
I just want to say, I know Ethan Miller's been getting a lot of crap from people, and oh, Kazak's going to destroy him, and then Kazak was winning the match when it happened. But I do want to say one thing, okay? The match was 1-0 against Kazak, and it was only because Miller hadn't had a chance to choose bottom yet in the third period. And Miller, right before the injury, was this close to taking Kazak down, much closer than Kazak was to taking Miller down. I think Kazak's the better wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as wide of a margin as people think. I think he earned the seed. But you know what I think is he's got a really bad second round matchup against Cannon. I think Cannon matches up really good against him. And I wouldn't be shocked if Cannon pulled that upset. I just think it's a real bad setup match for him. Because of that, I like Teamer going to the final. And Kazak and Antrell Taylor. That match, I know it was like 7-3 or something, but it was all off of one. Yeah, all off of one move at the beginning. I think he threw Taylor on his back for 7 points off the beginning. It was pretty easy, but I think Kazak's just too strong for Taylor. So I do like Kazak. I hope that he's healthy. His head is healthy. I hope Teamer's healthy. And we get this 157 weight class rolling.
Yep. No. I hope for everyone's health. Dom, your thoughts here?
I was just about to say, how healthy is Kazak? And has he wrestled again since the injury?
He did. He came back for a match or two. Yep.
How did he
just
look
against American?
He did.
It was against American, so
this is not one match, man. This is multiple. Like this is different, and like I mentioned earlier, like concussions affect fatigue.
Yeah. Ethan Miller, you can't take anything away from him though. He's a very good wrestler. I've seen him wrestle in person.
Yeah.
I wrestled against him team wise, and he's very, very good. But I can see him getting upset early on or something like that. You know what I mean? Something happening. I do see Teamer making it all the way to the finals, and same thing. I think Kazak can push through now. Like with what's going on and stuff like that, like. Once Kazak makes it so far, do they, pull him or something like that, depending on how he feels? Once there's so many situations that can't happen. A healthy Kazak, I think, wins it all here. Gets his first title.
I have to agree with you there, Dom. But really, the question is the health. How healthy is he? Is he 100% after that concussion? But folks, that'll take us to 165. It's obviously Mitchell Messenbrink, the number 1 seed, number 1 BEG. Caliendo at number 2 on BEG. Chris Minto at the 3 seed. He's number 10 ranked on BEG rankings. Beau Montanana, yikes. 4 seed, 14th in BEG rankings. Andrew Sparks, though, is the 5 seed, but he's the 11th seed in the BEG rankings here. So I actually see Sparks facing off with Messenbrink in that semifinal. Obviously, Messenbrink cleaning house. Caliendo Minto and the other. Caliendo's 1-0 in the past 5-1 in February of this past year. So I think you're gonna get your classic. I think this one's chalk, folks. Kevin, tell me different.
Yeah, and real quick, I will say because I've gotten some messages about it. The rankings that for conference tournament seeds are always going to be different than rankings because they're only going against by the record of people in that conference. So you'll see the rankings kind of pan out more towards NCAA's. But no, I got to agree with you, Zach. Mitchell had a close match for Mitchell, which was still a major against an old teammate in Schools there. But if you told me that Mitchell Messenbrink lost, the only person I could look at this thing and say that's who did it would be Mattanona catching him in something.
That's interesting.
But let me tell you, I'm not saying that's even a 2% chance of happening. But if you told me, if I slept through it or something, you're like, oh my God, Messenbrink lost. That's what I would have to say it would be him. But he's going to bonus his way through this.
Okay. Dom, your thoughts?
Messenbrink's on a mission. He does not stop wrestling ever. And I agree with you. I think if he just does his thing, he literally, no one's on his level. It has to be him inside his head, and I do not see that happening. I think he's so good, locked in. Messenbrink. It doesn't matter who else is in the finals.
Yeah, this might be the most obvious weight class we have here, but it takes us 174, folks. Number 1 seed here, Levi Haynes. who's number 2 in our rankings, the Keegan O'Toole. Number 2 seed here in the Big Ten rankings. Number 3 is Pinto, who's number 10 in our rankings. The interesting seed here, number 4, Patrick Kennedy, who's number 17 in our rankings. Iowa makes the choice to start Kennedy over Nelson Brands. Very interesting. But finally, the 5 seed is Clayton Whiting, who's number 4 in our rankings. So, folks, I do foresee it. Levi into the finals up against the winner of Carshula Pinto, who have, interestingly enough, not wrestled. So, Kevin, your thoughts on this weight class and maybe the Iowa decision to start and go with Kennedy here over Brands?
I think ultimately the best decision for Iowa, I mean, the best lineup, I shouldn't say the best decision, the best lineup would have been Arnold 74, Ferrari at 84. With that being said, I think that Brands was not looking that great against Oklahoma State. I know it was a tough, opponent, obviously, but I'm not really shocked that they went with Kennedy, but I think this is just a 2-horse race regardless. I hope that we're not going to see, maybe we see Pinto and Kennedy for a 3rd and 4th match. That would be cool, because the last time they wrestled, it was like 18-11 or something, 18-15, something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. So, but yeah, I like Karchla for this one. And then I like, if they were to wrestle again in NCAAs, I like Haynes, but I like Karchla winning this.
Whoa. They just had
Yeah.
Levi and they just had a close match. Dom, what's your thoughts?
Look, there's 2 types of domination in wrestling. There's that domination where you put up all the points like Messenbrink does, and then there's Levi Haynes, who just honestly dominates the matches position-wise and might not get all the points, but, man, he just controls everything. I see him making the finals, winning it on the bottom side. Honestly, I got a toss-up between a few guys. You know what I mean? I really don't know who it could be. Pinto, Turley, Braunagel, Karchla. Who shows up that day? I don't know, or that weekend.
This weekend.
I'm honestly this weekend, yeah. Kind of torn on. I could see Pinto making the finals. I really can. So
Yeah,
I'll put
Pinto's
Pinto
good,
and Haynes, and then Haynes taking it.
He's underrated, but that'll be fun. That'll be fun, folks. It takes us to 184 here. Let's break it down. We got 184 here. Carter, obvious number 1. The interesting and maybe the funnest here, McAnally at number 2, who's number 4 in our overall 184-pound rankings of BEG. Number 3 is Silas Alared, who's number 6 in our rankings. Gabe Arnold, folks, lining up at the 4 seed to face off with Carter in the semis. If he can get past the 5 seed Jackson Smith, who's number 9 in our rankings, that's going to be and Arnold did just beat him 2-1. What an overtime here just a couple weeks ago. But can he duplicate that to face off with Carter in that semifinal, where I don't see that going so well for Gabe Arnold. But then the other interesting semifinal, McAnally and Alared. McAnally has beaten him before, 1-0. Just in January this year, he beat him 16-6. So it does line up to me to be Starachi and McAnally here in this final, which to me is a very intriguing final. Kevin, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's kind of like the Matrix, where last year we were all dying to see Messenbrink versus O'Toole in the final, and we just couldn't get it. It just couldn't happen. I feel like that's the same thing with Carter and Arnold. I think that Jackson Smith is going to end up beating Arnold, and we're just not going to see it again. I think that Carter and McAnally are definitely going to be in the finals. I think Carter's going to wrestle it kind of safe, like he did with Angelo, where he's not going to be just too offensive, but he's going to do what it takes to win. Like Dom just said, there's a couple different kinds of domination, points, and then Haynes, or even like a Kyle Dake. Kyle Dake dominated opponents, but he just never gave up any points. I think that Carter is going to just control the whole match. He's never going to be question of whether or not he's going to win, but it's going to be close in the final.
Dom,
I will say this real quick.
Go ahead.
A couple of people that actually know McAnally said that gave him high praise. They said he was the best athlete they've ever seen in any sport. His athletic ability was just insane.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Dom, tell us something here.
Yeah, I got Carter, taking it all home. He's so good. He's so good, and it's very hard to beat him. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. You got to be able to beat him, and it's hard to beat him. Down on the bottom side, Alred. returning Big Ten champ, if I'm not mistaken. I honestly see him making another run this postseason because it is March, and I see him making the finals against Carter. I honestly do.
Wow.
Yeah, you could see a
I do.
turnaround, especially after that first matchup with McAnally. He has time to adjust. One other thing I want to mention here is I believe it was the Mike Mao podcast. Gabe Arnold interviewed on there and mentioned, asked him about why he did not wrestle up against Angelo Ferrari in the finals of the Soldier Salute, and he actually referenced some mental health issues. So I thought that was very interesting, maybe the timing. I saw a comment, maybe it was a girlfriend or something, but I don't know. Where is Gabe Arnold mentally? I guess we're going to find out, but we're going to
There's so many outside factors you gotta
that we don't think about. We don't realize that's going on. So
yeah. These people are human. They're human. You know, they got issues at home too. You know, it's.
Yep, but
2 years ago, Alred won it. Thank you.
2 years ago.
I knew it was recent.
197, folks. Stephen Buchanan, he's been the dog of the weight class all year, but here comes Josh Barrett, the number 2 seed and number 2 in our rankings, but he's going to have to go up against Cardenas, who's the 3 seed, number 3 in our rankings. 4 seed Salazar, number 9 in our rankings. Zach Bernagle, number 11. So, folks, Buchanan is 1-0 for looking ahead to the semifinals. He's 1-0 up against Salazar. It's 4-1 just in this past month. So I see Buchanan. He's been that guy all year long. In the other semifinal, Barr Cardenas, obviously Barr just beat him last month. In overtime, 3-2 or something. So that's a coin flip. Kevin, who do you foresee taking this?
Buchanan all day. He's a level above everybody. I don't think he's going to be threatened at all this week or in a couple of weeks. I do think that Cardenas losing was good for Cardenas. I think that, he was undefeated, steamrolling everyone, and he just had that on his back, undefeated wrestler, and he was wrestling not to lose against Barr. This guy's got one of the most beautiful double legs you've ever seen, and he is just built like he's checked. Cardenas is huge. I hope that Cardenas says, you know what? I'm just going to start shooting my double and go after this, because if he goes after Barr, he will win that match. But if he wrestles defensively like he did, he's going to lose again. So we'll see. But either one of these guys make the final, Buchanan's going to smoke him, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But it is interesting you mentioned, and we mentioned earlier, Mendez after the loss. Cardenas coming after the loss. These adjustments that these wrestlers are going to make coming after the loss, we kind of forget about that. Dom, your thoughts here at this weight class?
Cardenas is one scary man. He really is. He is jacked.
Yeah.
Buchanan is on another level. He's been there. I think it'll be Buchanan and Barr in the finals. Buchanan gets it. Now, hear me out, though. Penn State, NCAAs. Can Barr get it done? You know what I mean? You never know what happens at that tournament. So I do see Buchanan taking this weekend, but honestly, in 2 weeks, I'm not sure. He's going to be up there. I know that for sure. But can he finish the deal?
Yeah.
It's all about the finish there, so.
Barr's going to be a sneaky fantasy pick for all you participating in fantasy drafts. But listen, we do have a call in. Hang on. We're going to roll through here, and we'll take calls after we get through these. But let's wrap up the Big Ten, and we'll breeze through Big 12 quick, folks. But Big Ten, 285 bracket here. Here's a fun one. Gable Stevenson, obviously, number 1. Kirk Vliet, number 2. Heinzelman, number 3, who's number 6 in our rankings. Nick Feldman, number 4, number 10 in our rankings. But look out for Luke Luffman, number 5 seed, who's number 8 in our rankings. Okay, so who's it going to be going up against Stevenson? Who's going to make it through to the semifinal to see Stevenson? Is it going to be Feldman? Is it going to be Luffman? I don't know. We also, on the other side, expect to see Kirk Vliet. And I think ultimately we all expect Kirk Vliet, Stevenson in the finals. And you say, have they wrestled before? Yes. Stevenson's 2-0 against them. However, it was in 2021 and 2022. So what's going to happen here, Kevin?
Gable put on weight, and he's still just as fast, which makes him even scarier. Sometimes when you get away from the sport for a little bit, like we talked about Jesse, being year-round just at this grind, and he kind of had a down month for Jesse, which is still an amazing month. But I think Gable went away, played some football. He got his mind off wrestling, whether, us as fans like that or not, that's us. But I think it did him good. He put on weight, and it was good weight, and he's fast and powerful, and he is going to just keep destroying people. and I don't see it being a close match. I think that he will get the major over Kirk Fleet. I think he'll push for a major over him just to make a statement too, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dom, I think you think it might feel a little different.
I can confirm that Gable is bigger. we were at the weigh-ins this year at Minnesota, and I look over at this dude, and I'm like, he is ginormous and just as fast. I think Gable gets it done. I think it's going to be a close one, and I think he's going to try to make that statement. But Kirk is also just so good, and I think
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good match. I do. Kirk is huge. He's huge as well.
Yeah, two very large humans that I don't want to mess with. But, folks, we'll move on, and we'll quickly move through the Big 12 here, the 125-pound bracket. It's Richie Figs at the number 1 seed, Steve-O Poland, number 2, Strickenberger, number 3, Spratley, number 4. Yikes. That's crazy. He's number 4 in our BEG rankings. And 5, Tanner Jordan, who's number 18 in our rankings. So you're like, dude, Figs gets a tough route. He's got to face Spratley in the semis, who Spratley's 1-0 against Figueroa in 2024. And then on the other side, Poland, Strickenberger. Strickenberger's 2-0 versus Poland. So you kind of expect Strickenberger to get through there. Could Strickenberger win this? It kind of feels like that. Kevin.
Yeah, he definitely could. Another thing is like returning All-American Tanner Jordan. You know, he got 8th at NCAA's last year, and he's 5th seed.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had any really good wins this year, I've noticed. Steve-O Poland has not wrestled in 6 weeks, which is crazy. So I don't know what's going on with that. He had a really good start, but he lost one match to Cooper Flynn. But also check out Kyson Terakina, the second round match that Figs is going to have. Kyson is only have 1 loss this year. And he's been looking really good. So that's a tough. He's 12-1. That's a tough matchup for Figs right off the bat. But you know, Jet Strickenberger, he's a wild one, and I just think that Figs is just so good at this time of year, and he'll get it done. If anybody was to beat him, it would be Jet, but I like Figs.
Okay, Dom.
Yeah, so this is a very good bracket. I didn't know Poland was out for last 6 weeks. I was going to be up front. I was going to be like, oh, Poland, he's looked great all season. I've had the opportunity to wrestle Jet this year, and he's a sleeper. It's so weird because he doesn't look like he's good, and then you go out there and you'll be like, oh, he's kind of strong in weird positions and stuff like that. So it's definitely a style matchup. I could see him making the finals, and honestly, being a problem for Figs. So I could see him and Figs in the finals.
Yep, it's intriguing how the matchups line up here.
Starkey. Yeah, you had a good match with him.
Yeah, hang tight, Starkey.
I think I was just too big for him. You know what I mean? He's a 25-pounder.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to move to 133. Starkey, hang tight in the green room while we burn through these. 133, the number 1 seed in the Big 12s. Evan Frost, 16-2 on the year, number 3 in the BEG rankings. Then we have Dominic Serrano at the 2 seed. Julian Farber as the 3 seed there. Whitcraft, he's back. Wasn't there for Iowa duel, but coming in at the 4 seed. And then Kyle Berwick at the 5 seed. I do foresee Farber moving on here to the finals to face Frost would be my prediction. Kevin, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think you are. I don't know for the life of me why Farber is seated in front of Whitcraft. I looked at this 100 different ways, and it doesn't make any sense. There's not one thing I can point out that would have him seated in front of him, but it is what it is. Evan Frost is looking really tough. I just think that he's gonna win the bracket. But Julian Farber is good, man. I've been watching a lot of his matches. I watched a couple replays of him. And he's just a grinder, man. And I think that you are right. It will be him in the final. But Frost is going to be too much for him, I think. But that was a really good match the last time they wrestled. Really good match.
Yeah, the UNI kid, Farber. Dom, your thoughts here?
Same thing. I mean, I've had the opportunity to wrestle most guys in this bracket. You know, I think Serrano's been looking good all year. I honestly do think Serrano makes the finals. One thing, though, that Stockton O'Brien guy, he pinned me at the beginning of the year with the lefty headlock, and he caught Frost as well at the Cliff Keen with the lefty headlock. Do I think Frost is going to dominate? Yes, but I mean, the kid is dangerous, and you got to look out for that.
Who's
Especially
that?
first round, being off the scale. Stockton
Did
O'Brien,
he
the kid from Wyoming.
Okay, interesting. Write that name
did he
down.
beat Nasir Bally too? He majored Nasir Bally. Is that the kid that
That
majored
was that
Nasir
was
Bally?
that was from Chattanooga.
Oh, that's right.
Bowman,
That's
I
right.
believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the Cliff Keen, he had Frost pinned. If you go back and watch that match early on, it's a very nice headlock. I'm not gonna lie, but I do see Frost taking this.
Folks, that's why we brought Dom.
correct.
Look at that insight, dude. He's telling you about that's exactly what we brought him on. And hang tight, dude. We're in for the long haul here tonight, folks. We're moving on. Big 12, 141. Andrew Alira is the 1 seed. We haven't seen a lot of him this year. Cale Happel, the 2 seed. He's a dog. Jacob Frost, we just talked about his brother. Jacob Frost, the number 3 seed, taking Jamison, the number 4 seed. Oh, my goodness, if you foresee the semifinal matchups here. And finally, Moshe Schwartz as the 5 seed. But as I mentioned, it's lining up to be Alira's and taking Jamison in the semifinals. What a tough matchup there. Those two have never wrestled. So very intriguing to me. Is Alira where we all think he is? I think that's going to be a tough matchup. We're going to find out right there. On the other side, Cale Happel, Jacob Frost. Happel is actually 3-0 up against him. However, they've gotten progressively closer. First time we got decked, then 18-6, then 10-7, just this last month. So I don't know. Could we see the script flipped there, Kevin? I don't know. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that match with Happel and James Frost, I mean, was awesome. I know it got overshadowed by the craziness of Real Buto and Panero Johnson afterwards.
Yeah.
But that match was incredible. And isn't it crazy how Jacob Frost is just kind of mirroring his brother's year last year? How, his brother last year, he starts out the year getting teched by Nasir, and he's just not looking good at all. And then look at where he ends up at the end of the year. Jacob Frost is on a roll, man. He's looking good, and I think that he's going to beat Happel. I think Aliris is too. He's too good for anyone in this bracket. I think he'll win. It might not be an impressive win, but he'll get the job done and win the bracket. But I like him over Frost in the final.
Okay, but you're saying the Frost brothers have ice in their veins, though, making it to the final. Dom, your thoughts?
Frost definitely has surprised me this year, especially with the success his brother had last year. Honestly, I didn't even think he was going to be the starter this year, coming in and looking at 41 and kind of where they were at. Because I mean, there's a lot of guys there at Iowa State in that middle weight range.
Yeah.
And Aliers is just too good. No matter how he wins, you don't look at it, he wins. And I think he's going to win as well. I see Happel though. See Happel making it.
Yeah,
I think he impresses me all the time. He really does.
No, I think that Happel Frost semifinal might be the most. I think actually the 2 semifinal matchups in this weight class might be the most intriguing. I want to see where Jamison's at here, but let's move on, folks, to wow, and I forgot to put that weight class up the whole time. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. 149. Real Buto, the 1 seed. Panero Johnson, the 2. Willie McDougall, the 3, Gabe Willichel, the 4, and Gavin Drexler, the 5 here. And obviously, I foresee the same matchup that we just saw not too long ago here in the finals. Panero and Real Buto. Kevin, what are your thoughts here at this 149 weight class, Big 12?
Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of styles in this one. And first of all, I think it's crazy that Teague Travis went down to 49. He's never been down to 49 before.
I thought he was out for the year.
No, he's actually he's in for Carter Young now. He's wrestling at 149, which is wild.
Yeah, I thought they took him out for injury. That's so crazy. I was looking at the same thing. Go on though.
Yeah, so he's Teague Travis he's tough, man. If he does the weight loss right, he's going to be a tough 149 pounder. Gabe Willichel, he's the only one to beat Ethan Styles since Styles moved down to 49. It was the first match he moved down to 49, and then Willie McDougall is a really athletic, really tough kid. But I think Panero Johnson is going to beat Real Buto in the final. I think it was crazy what happened to have Real Buto win. I know Panero Johnson does struggle with some forms of sickle cell, where that's why sometimes he tanks in the third period. And I think he had a real bad day that day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I don't foresee that happening again. Panero Johnson, I thought, was the better wrestler outside of the win that day. He had
Stamina.
like 3 takedowns to none. So I think Panero gets it done this time.
Good thoughts. Good info. Dom, your thoughts?
It's just so crazy to me that Teague Travis is down at 49.
Yeah,
I honestly
nuts.
thought he was out for injury the whole year, and that's why they dropped Fish down to 57. But I was looking for Carter in there, and I saw Teague. That's so wild. I think same thing. Real Budo and Panero in the finals. Honestly, I could see Real Budo kind of having a little bit of confidence. No matter how you win, you still get that win. It's a win.
Yep.
Maybe opening up a little more and getting a win again in the finals. I could see it happening just with the confidence.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I like him. I hope he does.
Like we mentioned, the adjustments that'll be made after the first match. A lot of these wrestlers have faced off here previously this year, but that does take us. This is a fun one, folks. Big 12, 157. The number 1 seed, Cody Chittum, who's number 13 in our rankings. Number 2, Caleb Fish, number 16 in our rankings. Number 3 seed here, Ryder Downey, who we actually have as the number 6 best wrestler in this weight class in the nation at the BEG rankings. He's the 3 seed. Number 4, Cope Seabrick, unranked in our rankings, and Jared Hill is the 5. I do foresee Fish and Downey in one semifinal, which, okay, here's interestingly enough, like Fish is 1-0 against Downey, 7-4. He beat him in January of this year in a sudden victory. Then the other side, Chittum and Seabrick. Chittum's 1-0 with a 9-8 victory previously against Seabrick. The top 3, this is dicey division. Kevin, what are your tell me?
Yeah, this is a wild bracket. I don't know if you remember the Chittum Downey matches from there was a good one this year, but last year was crazy with like the double, triple overtime, and then the one at the dual meet where Chittum literally did the Boston Crab on him. He like had him like this, and he jumped. That was wild. But Fish, the best Fish ever looked this year was when he wrestled Downey. I think there was a really bad call, not in Fish's favor, that made that match as close as it was, but he really just looked, if he wrestles like that, he would win this bracket, but I just don't know if he's going to. Downey I'll tell you what, he's someone that I really don't want to see Shapiro have to wrestle at NCAAs, because Downey is just one of those dudes that's so unorthodox. He grinds out wins, and he's just really hard to prepare against. I think Downey's going to get it done again this year.
That would not surprise me. Dom.
Man, I love Downey. I didn't even know who this guy was last year. I started seeing videos pop up of him, and I was like, dude, I'm in college wrestling, and I love watching this dude wrestle. I think it's going to be Downey and Chittum in the finals, and I think Downey gets it done as well. I just think he's just so good and talented. Like, it is so unorthodox. It's wild.
Yeah. I think I have to agree with that, fellas, but at the 3 seed, seems maybe it could be crazy. I don't know. Let's move on. 165. We got Terrell Bearclough, correctly pronounced there, at the 1 seed, number 3 at the weight class in our rankings. Peyton Hall, the number 2. Do we foresee that rematch happening? He's number 4 in our rankings. Cam Amin, the 3 seed. Drake Rhodes, the 4, and Cam Steed as the 5 here. So in one semifinal, I expect to see Bearclough and Drake Rhodes. They have not ever faced off before. And the other side, Peyton Hall, Cam Amin have. Hall is 2-0 against them with a 5-1 win most recently in January of this year. But I think we all hope to see Bearclough and Peyton Hall rematch in the finals, right, Kevin?
Yeah, this weight, I mean, these guys have all kind of beaten each other, Jack Thompson he beat, Bearclaw at CKLV. I'm going to go back. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this whole, got the undefeated thing on your back. I think Hall is going to beat Bearclaw this time around. I really do. I think, again, he wrestled like just real tight against him. Drake Rhodes, man, he might be the best of the whole Iowa transfers that transferred out, like having the most successful season of all the guys that transferred out of Iowa last year. Yeah. Nico Ruiz beat Cam Amin this year, but they kind of all have gone around. Peyton Hall beat Amin. So I think that it's going to be Peyton Hall, though. I like Peyton Hall to win this bracket.
Interesting. Dom.
I agree with Kevin. And the thing is, Peyton Hall is a go out there, get scores, dominate you, beat you up. I mean, I remember last year looking at it. He literally had all bonus points, like in every single match. It was ridiculous. I think Bear Claw and Hall make the final again, and I think as well Hall comes out on top and gets it done. I do think so.
What adjustments will be made, folks, after previous matches in the year? That would make sense. Hall makes adjustments. Bearclough maybe not so much. Folks, moving on to 174 here. The number one scene here, Hamidi. Hamidi gets it over O'Toole. I think that's not necessarily so surprising given the matches wrestled this year. 2 is O'Toole. Number 3, Gavin Sachs. Number 4, Jared Sima. And number 5, K. DeVos. I foresee Hamidi up against K. DeVos in one semifinal. They have not wrestled. On the other side, Hamidi Sima. Hamidi's 1-0. I think it's going to be Hamidi O'Toole in the finals. However, Kevin, interestingly enough, we have never seen Keegan O'Toole and Dean Hamidi wrestle. So what can we expect to see here?
I think that I think this bracket also is very Big 12s is great this year, by the way.
Yeah.
K. DeVos was a 2 seed at NCAA's last year. Think about that. That's just that.
Well,
that's nuts. That's nuts. It's hard to judge how how much better Hamidi is as he was last year. It's really hard to judge, based on this competition, who he has. I just think Keegan O'Toole is one of the brightest guys there is. Matt Smarts on how to get the job done. I think that he could be too big of a hurdle for Hamidi. I do think it's those two guys. Gavin Sachs really tough on top. Look for him to possibly upset someone, but it's going to be these two in the final, and I think you're looking at maybe a 5-2 match final or something. Keegan O'Toole and Hamidi, somewhere around there, with O'Toole winning.
Keeping it respectable. Dom.
Look, you got Hamidi, DeVos, Sima, Gavin Sachs, Gaitan, O'Toole. That's a pretty darn good bracket. I do agree with you. Don't leave out Gaitan and Sachs and Sima. Like Sachs is good on top. He really is. I do think it's going to be O'Toole and Hamidi in the finals, and I think O'Toole does get it done. We'll see how they wrestle, because like I said, we talked about the one video, Hamidi dominates all these dudes that are ranked anywhere from 6 to 30. But those top dudes, he's struggled with in the past before. So we'll see this weekend. But I think O'Toole gets done.
We will get a chance to see.
It's crazy to think he didn't get on the podium last year. Like, no wonder he transferred. I mean, how did Hamidi not get on the podium last year? Crazy.
I mean, that blood round was pretty crazy, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
It's brutal in those trenches, boys. Dom knows all about it. But all right, 184, folks. Couple more. Starkey, all due respect, still hanging on tight in the green room. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. It must be very important. Big 12, 184. Number 1 seed, Parker Keckeisen, as expected. Dustin Platt, the 2. Bennett Berge, the 3. That's going to be fun. Evan Bachman coming in at the 4. And DeAnthony Parker, the 5. I think we all expect to see and look forward to Platt Berge in one semifinal. Platt is 1-0 with a 9-6 sudden victory win February of 2024. So that could go either way. And on the other side, I think we all expect Parker to pull through. But Kevin, tell us what we're going to see.
I think it's going to be a Berge Keckeisen final. With Keckeisen beating him. I think Keckeisen will major him. Keckeisen's looking really, really tough, man. I mean, not to jump off, but I still don't see him beating Carter. But man, Keckeisen is really he's on cruise control right now, and he's beating guys up. He's physical, he's fast, he's good mat wrestler. He's got it all. So, I think Berge's going to upset Platt and then lose to Keckeisen.
Interesting, Dom.
I think Keckeisen takes it here, and I agree with bonus points and stuff like that. It's hard to see him and Srirachi both at the same weight because they're both so good, so talented, work so hard. I'm a big fan of Kekheisen. I think Plot makes finals here. I think he gets it done, makes it to the finals, but I just don't think he can get over that hump of Kekheisen.
Okay, folks, two
Yeah.
more weight classes here. Ron in the comments says nobody can hold Keckheisen's jockstrap in this one. But bold statement. Bold statement, Ron. We move on to 197 in the Big 12.
Nobody wants to.
The number one seed, Luke Serber. Number 2, Joe Novak. Number 3, Wyatt Volker. Number 4, here's an Iowa transfer, Zach Glazier. Finally, at number 5, Ian Bush. I foresee that semifinal's tough. Novak Volker. I don't know. Novak is 2-1 against him in the past, but they've been tight. On the other side, Serber Glazier. Serber Zach Glazier. Here's interesting. Can I say officially? Can I ring the bell? Upset alert, folks. Can Zach Glazier beat Luke Serber? Yeah, because he's 1-0 against him already, all time. In 2024 February, beat him 4-1. So upset alert here, folks. Big 12 197. But Kevin, is that right? Am I crazy?
Maybe. I think nobody besides maybe Hamidi has benefited as much from David Taylor as Serber. I think that he's just quietly having a phenomenal year. And it's funny, I always get Novak and Volker confused. I don't know why. Probably because they're just so even. I have no idea who's going to win that match, but I like Serber winning this whole thing. And I think that, yeah, I like Serber.
Okay, Dom.
That's all I got.
I see. I agree with you. I see Serber coming in, taking the spot, winning it. I kind of, playing the part here. It also plays a part in how the teams are doing. You know what I mean? All the little guys are wrestling first. UNI, very good. Wyoming, also very good. Do I see UNI possibly doing a little better, kind of having Volkner a little bit of effect on that after seeing his guys win? I think I could see Volkner making the finals there and wrestling Serber, but I see Serber winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
This will be a fun one. That'll be a fun weight class. Folks, let's wrap it up here in the Big 12, our final weight class in the Big 12 we're going to talk about. And then Starkey has been on the green room for a long time. And if you're not pumped up and excited, just hang tight for when we bring him in, because it's about to get real fired up here. But, folks, the number 1 seed, Wyatt Hendrickson. Number 2, Colton Schultz. We talked about it previously. But number 3, Lance Runyon. Number 4, Seth Nitzel. And number 5, Juan Mora. Interestingly enough, Wyatt is 1-0 in the past up against Colton Schultz. He beat him 11-5 in November of 2024. But, Kevin, can we expect anything crazy here?
No, I think it's Wyatt. I don't really. This is just going to be chalk. I think not a whole lot to say. Wyatt wins it. I think he's good enough to bonus Schultz, but I do see Schultz making the final.
Okay, Dom. Final
Set
thoughts.
stone. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Final thoughts on this week.
No, I mean, Hendrickson is just a beast, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been able to watch this guy, you know what I mean, even in person. It's up close. It's even crazier, and I think he's been doing so much better at Okie State. Seems like he's having a lot more fun. Like, I don't know, just the interaction that they bring to the team. That's like I was saying with Penn State, like they have so much fun with all that success that comes. I think Okie State's also bringing that in and making this lifestyle a lot more fun than all the pressure and stuff like that. But Hendrickson over Schultz in the finals there.
Okay, that's pretty chalk. Finally, Starkey, unbelievable. Welcome in here, man. And you hung tight through us throughout all those previews, man. And we appreciate you hanging tight. And we appreciate you calling in, man. What do you got?
Thank you. So I'll be nice and organized. I have 3 topics in mind.
Okay.
First things first, Dom, welcome to the team. I loved hearing your intro earlier this week. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of optimism in the state of North Carolina. We got a lot of great talent. A lot of people think Jack's Forest and others are Pennsylvanians. No, actually, there's a lot of talent here in North Carolina. We just got to do a better job of keeping it here at home and developing it. So welcome to the team.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
awesome.
Good point, man.
Second topic. Just want to let you guys know we will be representing BEG at the ACC tournament. My dad, brother, and I this weekend got my little ACC 3 ready to go. Should be a fun one.
Cue the music, baby. That's what I'm talking about,
Indeed.
Starkey.
Indeed.
Appreciate
It'll be
that.
fun. I think NC State and Virginia Tech are going to keep it to a 2-horse race, but we'll see if Stanford or the Tar Heels have some upsets. We'll see. Cool. Topic number 3. Last thing. Really wanted to ask you guys. So it's very clear that the top programs have really separated themselves, right? Penn State, Iowa, now Okie State. They're clearly in a tier of their own, especially with NIL. How does anybody else break in? So, Kevin, I know you've been optimistic in the past, right, about the Tar Heels down in Chapel Hill, about what Rob Cole can build. But realistically speaking, 3 years from now, so not anytime soon, right? A few recruiting classes out, who do you guys think rounds out the top 5? What 2 programs do you think really have the best chance for a sustained spot in the top 5?
Kevin, I'll let you start.
I stay with my man Rob Cole. I'll tell you what, this guy,
I like it.
Cornell still got his recruits, a lot of his recruits. Ramirez, Boca, Cardenas was one of his recruits. They're still going off that. Then he goes to Stanford, and Daniel Cardenas follows him to Stanford. He was going to go to Cornell. Norman, Provo, Hunter Garvin. These are guys that follow Rob Cole. So Stanford's got all these really good wrestlers. Then he goes to UNC, and I know some people are laughing. Whatever, it's a 3-person tie and a seven bracket or 7-team thing, but they got co-champions at regular season, and now he's saying, "Man, I was at Cornell and we couldn't do anything with NIL or getting transfers in. Now I got the power to have money and spend it and stuff." He's going to do great things. Ramos is a great assistant. I'm going to be biased and say Cornell just based on their recruiting classes. Next year they got 20% of the top 50 coming in, almost 20%. They got 9 out of the top 50 guys coming in, and then the following year they got six out of the top 60 already coming in. So I think they'll build wide. But a really good question, buddy. I think go Tar Heels.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, Kevin.
Love to hear
Dom,
it.
what's your thoughts on that, man? How do we keep
Look, I'm
this?
scared for all sports. With all this NIL stuff, it is becoming a professional level. It's literally professional level out there. So, where it goes, what teams get money and stuff like that. Okie State has really, really impressed me recently with what they're able to do, and honestly, who's able to back them up. I'm still kind of getting new to all this stuff and the recruiting and who's getting recruited where. I've never really looked into that. I only see them when they're out there wrestling on the mat with me.
That's what matters.
That's kind of when you learn about the kids and like, oh, this guy's good, stuff like that. So, Michigan has always been a team up there as well, but we'll see what they do with NIL and money and stuff like that. But Okie State right now is at the top for me. Penn State will always be up there. Iowa, Cornell doing great stuff. I do like Cornell. And honestly, if I had to say a 5th, it would probably be Michigan. Michigan's like a sleeper to me because I think they do have some plays. It's just kind of how they play it out. I don't really know what their recruiting classes look like or if they have a good one coming in or not. But I'd be
they've got money.
Curious to see how they do. A little bit.
Starkey, that's a great question, man. You got us all giving long answers. I'll say this, man. I think we're going to see continued evolution. One thing Kevin didn't mention about North Carolina, the Bill Belichick effect. I think that actually
I was about to say it, Zach.
Huge
Massive
effect, especially in the NIL. Another school I want to mention, no one mentioned, Virginia Tech. To me, did anyone notice that Virginia Tech was one of Beau Bartlett's final schools? We interviewed Coach Roby. He's a cool guy, dude. It's the only warm weather school in wrestling that you can go to. I think going forward, I think they could have a unique approach. And then finally, I want to mention when it comes to unique approaches, I think it was Piles I saw talking about and discussing, like maybe Coach Sinta's approach. He was theorizing Coach Sinta's approach at Campbell. Are they approaching themselves as maybe like a developmental school? You come here and you're going to get better. You're going to get opportunities to transfer, maybe financial opportunities to other school. You start here. That's a unique approach. I think you're going to start seeing schools taking unique approach. If they're smart, they're going to have to take unique approach. But finally, the final thing I'll say is it does seem very unbalanced right now, but my final thoughts would be that I think we've seen a lot of changes and we will continue to see a lot of changes. We're going to continue to see millionaires and billionaires at these other programs get involved and have an impact, and just we're going to see a continued evolution to where I think maybe temporarily it might be top heavy, but I don't think necessarily long term, but I could be wrong. But
one thing real fast.
Sure.
Go ahead.
With all the foreigners, I mean, I know we talked about it earlier about, really briefly going to Penn State. You think about it, in these other countries, Iran and Russia and stuff like that, the sport is the highest level there. It's the biggest thing in the country. You start getting guys like that to come compete for spots, because you only get 10 spots. You might have 3-4 guys at one weight class.
Yeah.
Only that top guy gets it. You start having some of those guys taking spots and getting spots, it's going to gain attraction, possibly from new donators and new fans and stuff like that to watch college wrestling, at least from a standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might draw in a lot more people.
I did the rankings, and I put the tournament points in, and there was 57 teams that we had scoring at least a half a point in NCAAs this year, which that's a good sign. That's a lot higher than it usually was. Now, whether that will happen or not, we'll see. But real quick, Zach, what you said about Virginia Tech, they were talking about it on FRL. They were saying that they do something for recruits that is just they didn't say exactly what it was, but it's something very wild, very crazy, and that's why they're getting a lot of these guys to sign right off the bat. I don't know what it is. I don't even what they're saying, but they do something very thinking outside the box. And then right. One last thing, I just want, they definitely are, man. The one last thing I say is watch the teams with the red shirts too. Like you got Lehigh with Max Brignola, who's having one of the best red shirts years out of anybody. Then you got Luke Stanich, and now you're gonna have Crookham again coming back, and ready to roar, I'm sure. And then NC State, Arrington and Jack. Arrington, man, at 157 is a whole new animal. He has looked fantastic at that weight. So NC State's gonna come back hard next year.
Yeah, no, that's
totally agree with you,
Kevin.
Kevin.
To mention, but Starkey, listen, I want to give you a chance. Are you calling from like North Carolina area? Where you're in North Carolina? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Feeding my baby. I hope she's not being too loud. I know there's a lot of young babies in this group here, or newish fathers. So.
Shout out, man, feeding
doing well.
Baby, dude. I know all about that.
That's awesome.
Hey, not his first time calling in, folks. Starkey, we always appreciate your call, man. And very intriguing questions. It's probably the best live question I've ever gotten, if I'm being dead honest. But
awesome calling. Awesome, always.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll let you run. Last thing I just want to say, the behind the scenes content from the Iowa duel was fantastic, right? I showed that meet to all my sisters and dad and everybody. We were having a great time with it. People love the human storylines, right? Wrestling enough, it's fun for some of us, but like I got my sister who did not know a single person in that meet, right? She didn't know anybody. She didn't know anything about the coaches, nobody. She was getting goosebumps, emotional when Ferrari pulled off that epic moment, right? And then I showed her the behind the scenes, like this is how we grow the sport, right? It's emotions, it's storytelling, it's the human element, right? This stuff really, really matters. So I think that was awesome. Keep it up.
Starkey, thank you so much, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that was the first time I've done like POV videos, and folks, we got an outstanding feedback from it. In fact, we just surpassed 13,000 subscribers. So, folks, we're going to be bringing you a lot more POV content. Big Tens this week. I'll be at NCAAs. I'll be at the U.S. Open. Claw stuff. We got. Hey, if that's what everyone likes, we're going to bring more of it. Dom's here. He's going to be giving us POV stuff. We got to take down Tuesday training days, baby.
It's
all right. My goodness.
And here's why.
So we'll set up
here's why it's
cool
great.
videos with them.
It's differentiated, right? As soon as the meet ended, the next day, Intermat, Flow, right, Bosch, like there were 8 channels that posted an hour-long breakdown of it was a great duel, right? You guys did it as well. It was great. But it was unique and differentiated, right? That was like the only video on the whole internet where you could go and kind of get the, behind the scenes. So that was great. Like. Keep it up. More in the future.
I'm glad. Thank you so much, Starkey. You know what? You just motivated me even more to keep bringing you guys more of that content. So I want to thank you for calling in, folks.
Keep calling in, man.
I want to thank you for watching.
Hope to see you in North Carolina.
Hey, you guys
come to
are
the
local,
Triangle.
So Dom
From the Chapel Hill.
Zaccone, first time live on the show. We got Cornell Kevin.
All right,
Folks,
Dom.
that was an incredible breakdown of Big Tens. And listen, hey,
Thank you.
tonight, later tonight, Pac-12 championships on Flow Wrestling, folks. They're happening. AJ Ferrari and Stephen Little in the finals. If you want to get
Finally.
pumped up, go listen to AJ Ferrari's song, folks. I'm about to start dancing. But, all right.
Finally. Can't wait.
Thank you, Dom.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Kevin. Thank you, Starkey. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you,
watching.
Thanks a lot.
Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
PG Wrestling. See ya.
Yep. You
Peace
guys.